The Arthurian legend basically tells about a young person who discovers their destiny and discovers how to achieve this destiny.
King Arthur's name still lives on as a lasting legend in modern times. But the truth behind his story is much more complicated than we have ever thought.
It's amazing how much of that story,
His battles and power struggles shaped his legacy. Some say he was a real leader, others believe he is just a myth. In this video, we will uncover the truth about King Arthur and his fights that shaped him to be one of the most endearing figures in history. King Arthur, a wise and fair ruler, has inspired many for years. With his brave knights of the Round Table, Arthur searched for the Holy Grail, fought evil, and brought justice to Camelot. He was respected by other kings for centuries and became a symbol of leadership and honor. But few know that in the 12th century, there was a clash between the Celtic and Norman cultures. This fight didn't just shape the Arthurian legend, it almost broke it apart. At the center of this battle was King Henry II, who tried to destroy Arthur's story forever, changing it in ways we still don't fully understand today. Arthur was known as a wise king who ruled from Camelot. He fought for justice and searched what everyone sought for. The first mention of him was in the 9th century, where he was described as a leader who won 12 battles against the Saxons. Geoffrey of Monmouth's 1136 story added characters like Merlin and Excalibur, which helped shape the King Arthur we know today. Historians debate whether Arthur was real or just a mix of different people or a made-up figure. But by the 12th century, his story was deeply woven into Britain's culture. In Somerset, Cadbury Castle is often tied to Camelot, though there is no proof, but its strong position makes it a symbol for King Arthur's power. Local legends say that on Midsummer's Eve, the hill turns to glass, showing Arthur and his knights inside. Arthur wasn't just a story, he was a symbol of hope, a hero who might return to save his people. This made him a threat to kings like Henry II. Henry II, a powerful king, struggled to control Wales. In 1157, he led an army into Wales but was ambushed and nearly defeated. Despite this, he adjusted his strategy and gained some control. Still, the Welsh resistance, inspired by Arthur's story, remained strong. Was Arthur real? Some believe he was a Celtic warlord or a Roman remnant. Others think he was a blend of many heroes or simply a moral tale. Henry realized he needed to confront the myth himself. Frustrated with his military failures, Henry turned to propaganda. He focused on Glastonbury Tor, believed to be the Isle of Avalon, where Arthur was said to rest. The idea that Arthur might return gave the Welsh hope, which Henry wanted to destroy. In 1191, 2 years after his death, monks at Glastonbury Abbey claimed to have found Arthur's grave. The grave was 16 feet deep between 2 stone pyramids. A lead cross read, "Here lies King Arthur with Guinevere, his second wife, on the Isle of Avalon." Inside were bones, a sword thought to be Excalibur, and a braid of golden hair said to be Guinevere's, which disintegrated when touched. Henry likely started the search, using the discovery to strengthen his rule. The monks might have been guided by Henry to find this grave, linking him to a heroic king. The find also helped the abbey financially, drawing pilgrims after a fire damaged the building. The Arthurian legend known to us today was largely solidified by Sir Thomas Malory in the 15th century with Le Morte d'Arthur. However, Malory's work was built on earlier traditions, including the 12th century writings of Chrétien de Troyes, who compiled and expanded Arthurian tales. Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you. Chrétien, in turn, drew from Geoffrey of Monmouth's History of the Kings of Britain, completed in 1138. Geoffrey's work was the first to present Arthur in the familiar form we recognize, the son of Uther Pendragon, guided by Merlin, a conqueror of Britain and beyond. Geoffrey's Arthur fought the Roman Empire, faced betrayal by Mordred, and was taken to Avalon after being mortally wounded, leaving readers to wonder if he might one day return. Geoffrey's account was a mix of myth, legend, and history. While some dismissed it as fiction, it was rooted in ancient Welsh tales dating back to the 6th century, where Arthur was depicted as a warrior and protector of Britain, defending against monsters and invaders. Geoffrey's version brought these fragmented stories together, creating the first cohesive Arthurian legend. Yet the question of Arthur's historicity remains unresolved. Some believe he was a Celtic warlord or a Roman remnant, while others see him as a composite of many heroes or simply a moral tale. The mystery continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. In the past, kings like Edward I envisioned building the legendary Arthurian Round Table in the Great Hall of Winchester. But why was this city so closely tied to the Arthurian myths? Geoffrey of Monmouth, though not always accurate in his history, called Winchester an ancient capital. It wasn't actually the capital of early England, but Monmouth's tales helped cement its legendary status. By the 12th century, historians like Wace and later Layamon spread the Arthurian story across Europe, connecting Arthur to places like Winchester. Though Arthur's primary city wasn't Winchester, he called for a tournament outside it, a tradition Edward I would later imitate. Over time, medieval kings, including Edward III, drew on these myths for their own purposes. Edward III, for example, formed the Order of the Garter, drawing inspiration from the Arthurian legend, and connected it to Windsor, his birthplace. Meanwhile, the famous Round Table at Winchester became a symbol of the king's power. Some say the bosses on the ceiling above us represent Windsor or the sun, further linking the city to this mythic past. But by 1486, the link between Arthur and Winchester was sealed with the birth of Prince Arthur, son of Henry VII. The Tudors, needing legitimacy, embraced the Arthurian myth, claiming descent from the legendary king. Henry VII used the Arthurian connection to solidify his throne, a common practice among medieval kings. By the time of the Victorians, the Arthurian legend was celebrated as the ideal of medieval chivalry. In Winchester, stunning stained glass windows depicted heroic kings like Edward III and Henry V. These images linked the greatness of Arthurian knights to the kings of the time. As the legend grew, it became a tool for kings to legitimize their rule, tracing their lineage back to the once and future king. It wasn't until Henry II, who supposedly found Arthur's grave, that the connection truly took hold. The Round Table wasn't just a historical relic, it became a stage for kings to perform their power, an enduring symbol of leadership, chivalry, and royal authority. The legend of King Arthur is more than a myth. It is a reflection of how history and legend intertwine. From a Celtic hero to an English icon, Arthur's legacy endures, reminding us of the power of stories to shape our world. The manipulation of his legend by medieval kings, particularly Henry II, highlights the intersection of mythology, politics, and economics. Sites like Glastonbury and Winchester continue to draw tourists, connecting modern audiences to this rich tapestry of history and myth. Arthur's story remains a testament to the enduring appeal of a hero who might one day return to save his people. What's certain is that Arthur's story will always be a symbol of hope, leadership, and the eternal fight for justice. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.